Welcome to the Relentless Game, turning life's chaos into power. So me and Christian we have a little guest. We usually Christian and I do this together, but not a little guest,
It's a big guess.
very large guest. Uh, One of my best buddies from college and and life in general, Jake Harless, and inside of he's a client of mine as well, but as a brother in the Grill Alliance. Same thing with Christian. Like I don't even look at the clients, just like guys I just like run with. And that's kind of what I would talk about. It's like uh, life as a game is the way that I play the life is like it's a game. This is the way we play and we live is a sport to me. I mean, we get scores where we've gamified it where in our life we're like 60 points that we're trying to go towards, but we're all also always reaching for that next version of ourselves that we're trying to get to then in every domain. So we're talking about in our body, in our relationship with God, and the man that we're being and who we're becoming, in our relationships. Like Jake coming down for my birthday. It's like he's here just to hang out and stuff, just to invest in relationships and grow and build, but then also inside of our career and our businesses and what we're trying to do as far as that goes as well. And so that's kind of what I want to talk about today is just like, and I know a little bit about Jake, and I'll let him kind of give a background of like where he was and where he is. But then we'll also just talk about this game that we play as far as that stuff goes. And so, kind of, Jake, before you jumped in like 3 years ago, jumped into the GA, and I remember like we had talked about, and there was so much that I was like I'm learning, always trying to learn and stuff, and always trying to grow the GA, and like we were working together, but having a little bit of structure kind of in your life. Tell me a little bit about where you were kind of before jumping into the GA as far as like your day to day and structure to where the game that we play now is like at a high level.
How far back do you want me to go? Because
Yeah, we're starting. It's wherever. Like you have like tell. I mean, yeah, the story like we've been through it as far as that stuff goes. I think the beautiful part about like what we're doing is like we don't have to go crazy back. We're gonna go 15 minutes because we just got done with two podcasts back to back to back. So we're keeping this kind of short. But I just want to give kind of an idea of like the way we're playing, because like guys come in, it's fitness wise, and we're starting them and getting them in shape. That's our first phase of that, and I guess I could set that up. We're starting that first phase of that, getting in shape. You've always been in shape. That's not really been your issue. Now, eating are both our issues. Maybe that side of it. We had struggle with eating, drinking. I had struggle with pot, with everything underneath the sun. I've numbed out in various different ways, gotten in trouble, and then risen to another level. You the same way. We're all in some type of pit at some point that we get to a peak. But our life right now, as we have it, is our pit that we're in because we're still reaching for another peak. So just kind of your journey of like, hey man, this is where I was at, because like when we jumped in together, we went back all the way to college. But then, like when we really started, it's like you getting out of prison and coming, and then us connecting again and like going. So like there's layers to it. So however you want to attack it.
dude, I know that's what I'm saying. There's so many freaking layers to it, but I think from a standpoint of someone that's always been in shape. Now, I wouldn't really say always been in shape. I was kind of a chubby trainer for a while, but I had prioritized fitness for a really long time. So I think that's what Seth is getting at. It was something that I never really had to worry too much about, even though I did overeat some and stuff like that. Now, however, let's get to this. Getting into the overeating and some of the addictive issues that I had and stuff like that. Like, I think a really common theme with people with addictive issues, they got a little squirrel brain syndrome, dude. I hear people they talk about ADD and ADHD all the time, and I really don't like saying that. I don't like identifying by that, even though I could probably self-diagnose across the freaking board, which a lot of people do. But a lot of people that have those neurodivergent type of mentalities, what comes along with that oftentimes is addiction of some way, shape, or form, or just a very chaotic lifestyle, either like messy houses, having a hard time with just structural things. Okay. And so from someone now, when I asked how far I wanted to get back,
Yeah.
I started getting a little bit of structure in prison. That's where I started, like, some of the stuff, because you really have no choice. Like, everything, you're told when to eat, told when to take a shit, told when to, you're told when to do everything. Okay. Within that, I got a lot of structure and started in with the structure, but it was like prison structure. It wasn't necessarily applicable to everyday life, right? When I really started working with Seth, it was kind of funny, because it was one of those things, known each other for a long time, and he didn't want to work with me there for a little bit. Like, I'd kind of hinted at it back and forth, not wanting to drop my ego, and just asked if I could. I would kind of hint around here and there, and he would just literally, like, not even, wouldn't even try to hide it. He would just brush me off. And I remember it was back, I got out of prison, it was a few months in. He was like, man, I think you're ready to do it. I think you're ready to work with me now. And he kind of extended an invitation, and I didn't have any fucking money to do it. And so I paid a little bit. I think I paid what I could, and then I ended up paying him the rest later, just so I could start investing in myself in something that I knew was going to be beneficial long term. Because again, we go back to the squirrel brain that I've had, even probably within that I've just been talking right now, all the tangents that I go off on just here and here, because that's just indicative of how my brain has always ran. Now, with the Grow Alliance and working with Seth and these guys, I have found a really great sense of structure that I can implement every single day. Okay. Across all 4 core principles of my family, faith, fitness, and my finances, all the things that I need to take care of on a daily basis. Now, do I get all those things taken care of like I should every single day? Hell no, I don't think that many people do, because life very rarely goes according to plan all the time. However, I'll look at, I'm 3 years in the Grow Alliance. I think that I've almost doubled my income every year since I have been there. This year will be no different. My day, it's kind of weird. My day is so structured and not structured in a weird way, but it's like it's become my thought process, right? Like, it's become my default way of thinking, which for someone, which their brain was always going here and there and everywhere, and then circling back around, to be able to have like a default mode that's not super chaotic. I got freaking chill bumps right now just talking about it, dude, because it's been that life changing that even the squirrel brain can start to see and start to make progress, because now it actually has a little bit of structure. And even it's like, for someone that is so, I don't want to say out there, but maybe out there as myself, to be able to reel it back in. Yeah, right. But not in that regard, but to be able to reel it back in and be able to structure everything and be able to make as much progress as I have after 20 something years of being addicted to pills and alcohol. And now I don't take any medication for anything at all. I take vitamins and stuff like that, but that's it. I'm not medicated. I'm 44 years old, be 45 here in a couple of months. And, I never made more money. Life's never been easier or smoother. Now, life is not easy, I don't think, by any stretch of the imagination for anyone. But my life now, compared to what it was 3 or 4 years ago, exponentially easier.
Well, it's just like you talked about, just having that, you're an athlete. So like having some type of like structure of like, you had a coach that was always telling you, hey, you're getting here at this time, warm up, do these things, work out, do all the stuff that you need to do, go to class, all that stuff. But then you get into the real world, you don't have any structure at all. And then you are kind of like, you do as a business owner, like you have a lot of stress. And like, so guys deal with stress different ways. So you dealt with stress for a long time with alcohol, with the numbing outside of it. And so like, I think the beautiful part about it is, it's like, we're all our own different type of individual, but we all have the same game that we play. We all have a direction of the man that we're trying to become in every area. And by having that, it gives you that knowing what you want, and then having a system of like, I'm going to tap into predictable power in the morning time and take care of these little simple things across the board. But then also have like my daily and my weekly and my monthly things that need to get done that are leading me to the man that I'm trying to become at the end of the year, is the big piece of it that keeps you that structure and that and helps you out that way. But also the brotherhood as far as that stuff goes. Thing you want to add?
Yeah, no doubt. For me, it just gave me a purpose again. I've been in the Gorilla Alliance just shy of 2 years now, and me and Seth, we've been in business together since 2021, growing the Vitality Mill, our gym and stuff like that. But I grew up an athlete as well, and my whole life was structured around I was going to be a professional baseball player. And then you go do that all the way up through college, and then you get out of college, and it's like, that was my purpose, and now what am I supposed to do now? And so I kind of was just coasting in life for a good 4 or 5 years. Like, I didn't have any target. I had obviously still had that competitive mentality, so there was things in my head that I wanted to achieve, but I had no structure of how to even get to that point. And that's what the GAs brought me, is not only that team environment again that I had playing baseball, but also hey, this is what you're going to do today in order to achieve that goal that you have by the end of the year. This is what you got to do by this month in order to achieve that. And then by this week to achieve that. And so it just gave me that structure again. It made me find purpose in life again. And and I just created a lot more momentum in my life. And what we've done at the Vitality Mill this year has just been a game changer. And we're hard on ourselves because we know what we can continue to do and continue to level up. But when I really look back at the targets that we set back in December and look at what we have achieved this year, without the Gorilla Alliance and the structure that is provided and all the men within it to help, boost us and get us to that point, dude, we wouldn't be able to achieve a quarter of the things that we've done this year. So it's that's what it's done for me, man.
To piggyback on something that kind of both of you guys said, but the stress, Seth was saying something about stress, and with the systems that are provided, our stress is different, right? Everybody has stress,
Controlled
right?
stress.
We all have stressors, but the things that worried about what's going to go on this day and this day and the things you have on your schedule and stuff like that, I don't stress about those things anymore because I know how they're going to go down. Or I have a really good guideline or a really good game plan. I have a life game plan of how I foresee these things or how I've structured them to set out. And if I take some good action on my end, I can make a lot of those things happen. Not all of them are within my control, but a lot of them are. Okay, how I operate is within my control. And then because I have those things that I don't have to stress about, I get to stress about things that are actually stressful. You know what I mean? You notice that people stress about things that aren't really stressful just because they're lazy.
Absolutely.
Or because it's not laid out. And why is it not laid out? Well, because you're lazy. And if you're reading this and you're watching this and you ain't got it laid out, quit being lazy. Y'all didn't say it, I did. But it's just one of those things that, see, there's that freaking squirrel brain tangent again, right? Hang on, bring it back.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what you're saying, is just having that structure of that the stress is going to be there, and you get to you get to choose your stress.
Well, the stress will, like my Bill got in a car wreck and his arm's messed up. That's stress that I can't control, but I can help them deal with that stress now because I don't have 20 other things that are within my control to worry about because they're structured and they're taken care of.
This is the way I look at it, is capacity. And so if you have just a little bit, you have all this stress that you add to your plate and you have small capacity on this small plate here. Little things are oh, my truck's going into the shop here in the next day or two. And because my air conditioner might be going out, and then I need to get that checked. And so it's that could stress me out. Oh, is that going to cost a lot of money? Things like that. But okay, that's a stressor. But then on the other side of that, what the Gorilla Alliance does is what it's done is it's given me a larger plate. And so it's now I can that's a stress, but I can manage that. And I'm not worried about it because I know that hey, I can be able to do this, and I've got this going on. And so they're all getting handled, but they're all there, but I have a game plan around how I'm doing everything. So that's why we talk about, and we go in with the body first, is you talked about, it's you are taking care and you're controlling what you control. And the body is the first thing, is you can't lead yourself and you're not leading anything else. And so that everything else will stress you out. But that side of it gives you more capacity. The more capacity you have to deal with. And then now every area is going to have a little bit of stress though, but that's good stress because that's how you grow and that's how you get better, and you're learning from that stress as well. If you didn't have a way with the stack to learn from that stress, that's the other side of it too, is getting out of your head and questioning, looking at it from a different perspective.
Yeah, dude, I want to touch on that because I remember when we were talking about me coming into the GA. I'll be honest, like at first I was like, I don't know if I want to do this, because I had a lot of thoughts in my brain and I had so much stuff that I felt like was already on my plate. And, but I had nowhere to put those thoughts into anything because it's all here. And then once I figured out with the GA, it's like, okay, I can organize some things here, organize my thoughts here. And now everything is organized and it's set out in front of me. And I go, dude, like I've got way more opportunities to do this and do this. And so I felt like through all of that, what it allowed me to do is not just make my plate bigger, but it made my skill set bigger in order to handle a bigger plate.
That's good.
Increases your bandwidth.
Yeah.
People talk about bandwidth all the time. I don't have the bandwidth to do this or do this or do that. This definitely capacity, bandwidth, however you want to call it.
And so how we do that then? So like it's easy to sit here and go, okay, well, like how's that work? And we're all on the same page with that. How that works is, one, we got to wake up. Wake up. Jake woke up. Like I could see Jake, like having conversations with him. I could see that he was awake to his potential of what he could build, and he was ready for it. And that had to happen because it rattled his cage, because he had to go to prison. Like it's different for everybody. Like for me, it was losing my dad. That rattled my cage of going like, wake up, bro. And so everybody's different as far as that. That's how you get woke up. But like once you're awake, now you like start to look around. You're like, oh, I've got so much more potential of like, what if I started to work on this and this and this, but now have the framework to be able to do that. So awake. And how we do that's the body, core 4, stack. That's where we're starting at. Now we're awake. Now we're going like, okay, now I could be able to manage a little bit more. Okay, now let's go into take a knee. Take a knee just is, hey, this is now I'm looking at all these other areas of my body, my relationships, my relationship with God, who I'm being, my business, my career. Now let's start putting a directive focus on all these areas and have a game plan of how we're going to start to put a little focus there. Once we have that, now we can have it all. Have it all is now we're going to build out a whole year's worth of, this is the plan of reasonable of where I want to go, radicals the next phase, and then impossible. And then next thing you know is like, we talked about that the other day, Jake, was like impossible. You set out a target inside of your finances that you thought was impossible, that there's no way you're going to get it. And in the career that you were in at that time, it was kind of impossible for you to potentially hit it at that point. And then by you just playing the game all out, God kind of puts people in the right place at the right time. And then a guy hits you up, and the next thing it knows is like you get another career opportunity that gets you to that impossible. It's talk about that with the same thing we talked about with the Bible study stuff. It was, I've never been to a Bible study, to Isaac coming to me going like, hey, I'd like to start running a Bible study inside the Vitality Mill a couple times a month where we have a workout afterwards, to where now I'm able to do the Relentless Faith Bible experience. And so it's just like, you don't know how those things are going to happen, but you have a kind of a reasonable of like, I know God's calling me to go this place, but I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I have the structure to start to guide me.
No, you're telling it has to do with getting clear on what you want, because what I wanted was like this more financial success.
Freedom.
How I got there though was, it was still like all my family, faith, fitness, finances, all was still going in the same direction. But because I was doing something in one area of my life that wasn't related to my finances, but in a way that I wanted to get better, it was related, because now everything, my family, faith, fitness, finances, they're all going in that same direction. They all want that same end result. They all want that same everything. So even if it's not directly have to do with my finances, everything else in all 3 other parts of my life are still going that same direction. So is it any big mystery that one piece that wasn't part of my finances led me to my finances? No, it's not. Well, any secret, because everything's going in the same place. You know what I mean?
You're becoming the man. You're becoming the man that you knew that like you wanted to be. Like you wanted to be nice to people. You wanted to embrace and serve your clients at the highest level. And like a guy will sit back and be watching you and be like, that dude's different. Look how he's showing up. Look how and then that opportunity starts to come and play because of the guy that you were being as far as that stuff goes. And so I think the biggest thing is like, especially with like, nothing is going to go as planned, but that's the beautiful of like part of like having faith and like, and allowing God to like direct your place, because it took faith for you to, to decide to switch up what you're doing. And you might go back to, that's a beautiful part of it. It's like now you got a different perspective of coming over here where you had to change your career just a little bit, to where now it's like, okay, now coming back over here and maybe switching and going back to the fitness side of things and the career, whatever it is, what it looks like, you've got a different, you value it more and you're more grateful for that opportunity. So when you go into it now, it's like now you'll become a different dude as you step into that next pay, whatever that is. And none of us know what that's going to be like, but you have a different perspective of now the way you look at it as well. So
yeah, on top of just additional life experiences and skill sets.
Yeah. So that's ultimately what we're talking about and what we do inside the Gorilla Alliances. And I just wanted to get a different perspectives on how we live. And because we always talk about the fitness side and the being side, but then going into our career and having our relationship continue to grow, because I continue to grow. Like I was a jerk. Like I've been a jerk over the years, because I didn't have control of my stress and how to deal with it. And so my perspective, but I changed as a human, as who I was being. And then it started to allow you to come in and be like, oh, like I see that. I would like to go in that direction too. And then we could run together. And then same thing with you is like you hitting me up. And then like in my DMs, it's like, hey, I could be that coach. I didn't know that you were going to jump into the GA with me and work with, but now the work that it's compounding because we're all on the same page and we're playing the game the same way, to where you come in today and Ryan Hawkins is in here and he's doing our monthly workout. Y'all guys connect, but we're 150, 200 miles away, but we're still like playing the same game and in the same tribe inside the app, to where it's like, you're you still know what's going on with him. And you kind of touch base and then we get back at it. And we meet quarterly, have our quarterly meetups. And so we're always pushing each other that way. So I think that's really what I wanted with the podcast today, is just a different perspective of all different. You got a 27-year-old, you got a 44-year-old, you got a 44-year-old that's going one direction to this direction, to bringing it all back in. And we're all learning, we're all growing in certain ways. Because I the same way. I got in trouble back in college, and that woke me up as well. So it's like we all have these different things that happen in our life, and it's a lesson that we have to learn, and it starts to build that skill set and a mindset of the man you start to become. But if you never wake up to the potential that you have, you'll never get to start to become the man that you want to be. And that's ultimately all we're trying to do in the Gorilla Alliance, is become the man God creates to be at the highest level. And it's different journeys to get there, but in the end, we all eventually, if you're playing this game, we all start become better and better and better and improve over and over. Because I see versions of you that you killed off, of you are now. I've seen you grow to different versions, and then obviously we with myself, you guys seen me be the fat dude to the lean dude to to like all over the place and not really having any kind of being a frustrated. You've seen that side of me, of just being kind of like always just like on, where it's like, oh, I'm kind of free now because we're growing into that, and we can see that we're building that. But our mind's the happiest when we're making progress. So that's what we do. If that's something that you're interested in, you can message me inside of Instagram. It's Seth.P.Humphrey. Message me Gorilla Method. Message Christian, and I'll let him give his handle as far as, and then I'll let Jake give his handle on Instagram and where you can follow him. And then more than anything, that's I just appreciate you guys. I love playing the game with you guys, with all the guys inside the Gorilla Alliance, and it's going to continue to grow. But just having a brotherhood and having some other guys that are pushing this game of life, it's just it's exciting, and I love it, and I appreciate both of you and love both of you.
Love you, man. Appreciate you.
We love and appreciate you as well, man. You can find me on Instagram at boo_train6. So all things fitness and nutrition. Then I'll let Jay plug his handle.
Jake Harless at Jake Harless, Harless.
Yeah. So for you guys, I appreciate both of you, and we'll see you guys on the other side.
This is a relentless game, turning less chaos into power. This is a relentless game. I've been up grinding 10,000 hours. This is a relentless game. Always put my faith inside a